What is up, all you beautiful people? It is I, AkemiTCG, and I got a special guest here today. We got Charles from TeamCOG.
What's good, guys? How's everyone doing?
And this is such an honor to have him on the channel because he's actually the guy that got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, period. I remember going home from work one day and I'm like, I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. And then your video was the first video that popped up when I looked up budget deck for Crusadia.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here. I really, I enjoy being an inspiration. It's never, it's completely by accident. To be honest with you, I was actually sitting through and going through, kind of like my thought process with the deck because there's always been this argument with which is better, the going second, going first, sort of. They've been like this kind of rival in the community, and I was like, well, the best success I've had local-wise has been from the going second. Like, I just remember all the videos that I uploaded, all the deck profiles I had of me just, like, pretty much, like, waxing my locals, and we have another locals we go to, and just waxing them with it. So it's been a good trip down memory lane.
Oh, yeah. This deck, like, I'm 100% sure this deck never is going to die. Never. Ever.
Yeah, no, like, that's something, like, I thought, well, I mean, if they ban LP, the deck no longer has, like, the crazy, like, has access to, like, the crazy Yugioh turbo-esque aspect to it. But then it just goes to its one-punch strategy, and we're okay.
Right, and that's, like, the best part of the deck, because people don't see it coming. Like, absolutely don't.
I think it was, I want to say it's MCole40. He said that players should beware when a going second, an OTK-based deck gets a going first strategy, because then the deck is very flexible in what it does. So then it's like, no matter what you do, you're going to potentially be in a losing spot. If they go first, they beat you. They go second, they one-punch you.
Right, exactly. And that's why we love Crusadia.
Yeah, that's exactly why I've stuck to this for almost, I think, 2 years. I think it's coming up on 2 years since the Guard Dragons came out.
Wait, hold on. You were playing Crusadia through Sky Striker format at full turbo?
I sure was.
You're kidding.
No, but I've played Crusadia since their inception in Cybernetic Horizon. Actually, a little bit before that, as soon as I saw the deck was revealed to us, I went out and I proxied the cards because just something about, like, the artwork, and their name was, like, Paladin or Paladion at the time, so, like, something, the name and everything kind of latched me onto them. So I've been playing this deck since it was revealed in the OCG. I just proxied out everything and just played it since then. And then when the deck was released over here, Crusadia, I love, like, the lore and everything behind the deck. On top of that, I was actually begging Konami to give me my own, like, World Legacy deck that really fit me.
Right.
And we already had someone playing World Chalice, which was just that deck's just 3D chest is what one of my subscribers said it. And then we don't talk about crawlers, and then Mech Knights at the time just weren't, just wasn't my cup of tea. So then all of a sudden as soon as I saw Maximus, I was like, I'm building this deck. I don't care what it does, and I've just stuck with it ever since.
Yeah, Maximus has to be the coolest card. The double battle damage is insane.
Oh yeah, I enjoy the artwork. Like, it seems like, to me, they seem to put a lot of extra work, it seems like, into their artworks, like the backgrounds and everything with it.
Right.
But yeah, so I played through it through full since Sky Strikers came out, because like, I'd always say at my locals, like, we have a good Sky Striker matchup on paper because we play so many kaijus. We just kaiju your one monster.
Yeah, right.
We can do it. And then every time I play the Sky Striker players that are locals, I never see a kaiju, and I would just get Widow Anchored to death. Or
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's normally how it goes.
All right, so are you ready to unveil your latest deck profile for this post Eternity Code?
I sure am. I've got a lot of my subscribers that have been wanting me to reveal it, but I'm not a proxy guy, so I told them they'd have to wait for the live deck profile for when we over here in the US get the cards. But I will gladly be able to send them over to your channel now to check it out, to kind of maybe ease the appetite.
Yeah, and it's gonna be, we have to wait another week or so. I think it's coming out June 5th, so close.
Yeah, which kind of, I even thought about ordering the cards from Europe, but then I was like, no, in my luck, I'd order them and they wouldn't get here till, like, after June 5th, and I should have just waited and bought them when it came to the US. So I've stayed strong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all have in the US. It's been pretty rough the whole month without any content.
Yes, yes, it definitely has. But yeah, we can jump right onto the list whenever you're ready.
All right, sure, I'm ready.
All right,
All
so
right,
of
Red
course
Eyes
we have the
Darkness.
Red Eyes Darkness. So I've bounced back and forth between Red Eyes and Brotar because with the new errata with the Red Eyes, I was like, well, Brotar does so much. Well, upon
Mm-hmm.
testing, I mean, countless hours of testing Brotar, I've come to realize and kind of learn that this deck really plays from the hand. And Brotar is amazing in great hands, but the discard can become really costly in anything from bad hands to good hands.
Mm-hmm.
So even though he does kind of get you to the serpents or the chaos little mini chaos dragons, it's not like that. Like the discard from the hand is like the most important thing to me. So I decided to stick with Red MD because he's just free. It doesn't require, any sort of like no discard or nothing. He just brings back. Given now what the errata is just once, he'll just bring back, but it's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Still a free
And
+1, right?
yeah, essentially, yeah. And then like I heard that so like you can potentially push for like a second Skull Dread with the new errata with the Red as Darkness medal, but like depending on the strategy and what you're playing, like the current strategy that I have, it's we're trying to get to the waterfront, and then if we can't get to the waterfront, we're trying to get to like at least 2 more interruptions alone,
Mm-hmm.
and just committing to that second Skull Dread
Mm-hmm.
requires too many resources for one card. And then if you look at the waterfront aspect, we already are struggling to make waterfront live. If we draw it off the first Skull Dread, pushing for that second Skull Dread is going to be a little bit harder because we're taking that extra card out of our hand to make the Skull Dread. So that means it's a less counter that we get on the waterfront.
All right, so would you
But
say that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of our viewers know about, the Waterfront Gamma Seal combo,
mm-hmm.
that with the Red MD errata, is it still worthwhile to run that combo just because you're
um,
essentially drawing 4 less cards because you don't have access to a second star Yugioh?
Yep, and then if you do make it, the ability to make the waterfront live is less. There is a particular I was thinking about it and tinkering with just kind of like a rocket engine. I've already kind of done that. You take out the waterfronts and you put in like 3 quick launch, and then
Mm-hmm.
like a rocket tracer, and then a rocket silver rocket dragon, and then you
Yep.
play like. But arguably, I still just think waterfront's so strong because if you see waterfront or even get to waterfront in the first Skull Dread, you have the ability to get to Gamma Seal, and Gamma Seal just does so much.
Mm-hmm.
I used to argue so much back in the day when Augerpain was around that the deck didn't need Gamma Seal. It was just like like an alternate win condition almost.
Right.
Because the deck could put up 3 to 4 negations without Gamma Seal, and then we lost Agripain, which took down 1 negation. So like kind of if you think about it, we went from like 3 to 4 without the Sea Turtle to 1 or 2 to 3. So the Sea Turtle now is just more. I think it's more of a win condition because like if you play the Rocket Engine, you're going to be able to make Borload Savage. Savage is a high pressure 1 negate Omni negate card, but Gamma Seal is pretty much unlimited negates and infinite negates.
Right.
So I personally, in my opinion, believe that the Waterfront is the better choice. I know like I don't want the deck to become like World Chalice, like Kyoto Waterfront Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my big things that I was trying to point out that I believed at the time, and I still believe to this point that this deck is still better at doing this than World Chalice at the moment. But it's just I wanted the deck to not be Gamma Steel Turbo, and I still feel like the deck's still not Gamma Steel Turbo because I've been able to push out kind of, thanks to Parallel Exceed, which is the next card coming up, push out bigger boards without getting to Waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's up to player preference, really. Like I said, I just prefer the Omni Negate over like the potential other options, I guess you could say.
Okay, that makes
Because
sense.
like, yeah, I don't know how else to really put it. It's just Gamma Seal, and I'm trying not to. It's just the name game is in the name, so.
That is so true.
But after that, we just have the 3 Parallel Exceed, and this card got revealed to me a while ago, and I was like, oh man, like this is awesome because prior to not knowing about the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, I was testing this to pretty much make Dugaris, which is still on the list, to pretty much draw 2 more cards. And then now all of a sudden everybody seems to recognize its great potential and everybody's hopping on it.
Right, because it's so easy to summon.
Yeah, Exceed is remarkable. Like Exceed is It's really honestly one aspect of the deck really needed. So if now, like, imagine like the trap hole didn't exist, what you could do with Exceed is you could make the card Ling Kribo, which is down in the extra deck.
Right.
And Ling Kribo just helps stop traps. So like Ling Kribo can stop floodgates, that pesky imperm that we can't call by the grave,
Mm-hmm.
Parallel Exceed just even without the trap holes just did so much to the deck. It chain blocks out the Magius to ensure that you'll get your search, and then
Right.
you can just make it's like a free Dweller, it's a free Dugaris to draw more cards, or a Ling Kribo as I just said, it's remarkable what it does for the deck. And right now, like if you open a Parallel Exceed plus any Crusadia, you pretty much Nibiru proof. You can just walk right into like Nibiru territory, not have to worry, unless they kind of bait you with a hand trap and then smack Nibiru on you after you waste the Rafflesia. But most of the time, we can play through an Ash, or we can play through any other sort of hand trap.
Right.
Ogre kind of hurts, but if they have Ogre and they're using Ogre, they're more than likely would attempt to use the Rock as well, I would say. But yeah, it's just amazing. The card is phenomenal. And then I didn't even realize, even at the moment when this card was revealed, that Four-Mid Skipper was a thing. And I played Four-Mid Skipper in Orchest way back when, like before it became super oppressive.
Mm-hmm. And now it's just nuts. This card is insane.
Now it's just kind of crazy. But then we have just the two, what do you call it? The Black Dragon, the White Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
White Dragon is such a brick. Every time, as soon as I cut the card from my list because I got tired of seeing it, I would always see the Black Dragon somewhere throughout the combo sequence super early, and then I'd regret not playing the White Dragon.
See, that's so weird because we have like opposing viewpoints on this card. Because I played both for a long time, right?
Yep.
And for whatever reason, like top tables at regionals, like before they cut to top like 48 or top 32, I'd always see. You'd always see. My hand was literally White Dragon, Wyverbuster, no Crusadia cards. I drew like 2 Ran Ryus, White Dragon, Wyverbuster, and then 2. Well, back then when it was at 3, the what's that counter trap card that shuts down all the trap cards? Red Reboot. And I just looked at the hand. I'm like, man, that blows.
Yeah, and then even when you open a good hand and you see the White Dragon, you're still like, ugh.
Yeah, it could be aggravating.
The White Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is really aggravating, and like outside when I cut it and kept testing with it, the Black Dragon decided to show up and just stick to my hand. I was like, man, I really miss not having the White Dragon. So I guess it's like one of those, like, it's not a card you need. You don't need it. It just, in conjunction with the Black Dragon. And if you do happen to open it, like if you do get past LP, it does become live. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's like, I wouldn't even say it's a necessary evil. I'd just say it's an inconvenient means, I'd say, in some cases. But I'm still playing it because, again, they're just super strong. Like, even if you do, like, Skuldred fixes our hands, and since that we do have the ability to protect ourselves with Parallel Exceed, I thought, well, if I open like Four-Mid Skipper, I open any way to Exceed plus this brick in my hand,
mm-hmm.
and take note that I'm always going to have 4 good cards because Crusadia Crawler down there, the last card will always already be in my hand. So, I open, since you can pretty much combo off with 2 cards, that you can account that I will definitely see Crawler. So then I have 4 cards to combo off with, and then 50-50 shot of the White Dragon to be there.
Yeah, it's literally all the Garnets. The Wyverbuster, the Crawler, possibly the Trap Holes.
Yes, and I recently bumped the Trap Hole up to 2 in this list, and I'll get over that once we get through the monsters, kind of.
Okay, copy.
So then after that, we have my man, Crusadia Maximus, Paladin of Vast Skies. He's still my favorite monster. Like, even the deck could completely move away from like the OTK strategy, and he'd still be like my first card in my deck profile lineup, just because his artwork's beautiful, and he just allows this deck to have such a oppressive turn 3 or an oppressive turn 2. Mm-hmm. Like, people don't even read this card, and the interaction between like Equamax and like Crusadia cards are just super strong.
Mm-hmm.
So like pretty much, like when people started to understand the deck a little bit better, they understand like, oh, we need to stop the card that does double battle damage. Well, they forget that Equamax can negate stuff. So I've had a lot of times where I've summoned Maximus and used its effect to target Equamax, and then they try to chain to the Maximus, and then I just negate it with Equamax.
That's
So
hilarious.
then, yeah, so then the effect still resolves and it's still applied to the equal max, and then I just summon another monster from hand, whether it be like Leonis, which is like the next big one or something like that, and just still whack for game.
Mm-hmm.
Or going on like Dugaris. Dugaris is just so phenomenal. I don't use Dugaris really much for the draw anymore. I pretty much use him to kind of just ensure that I'm waxing for game, because it's just like you make Maximus do double the equal max, and you make a Dugaris double the equal max, so then you're like smacking for like 6k, doubling the damage. It's remarkable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then the next card is Ranru, the only familiar that we play that we have left. It's kind of crazy that Parallax Seed just kind of blew out the other 5
Oh,
familiars.
absolutely.
Yeah. But Ranru's still here because he's still a dragon extender. He's still an extender that can help us pretty much establish a Rafflesia under 5 summons. Like, as long as you open like a Crusadia, like it kind of has to require like a busted hand essentially, but which we do play a total of 27 monsters, so only 3 of those monsters are bricks in the opening hand. So for the most case, and you play a lot of level 4s, I think you play 12 level 4s, and then like Parallax Seed are like a level 4 in itself. So essentially Renru just fulfills the ability to meet the dragon aspect of the Guard Dragon package, or the level 4 aspect of committing to a Rafflesia. Or later on in the combo, if you don't happen to get to Waterfront, you can just special summon this by the Skull Dread, or if you happen to draw into Reclusia throughout your combo, you can special summon the Ranru to make a Dweller, or be like the synchro for the other material for the Dawn Dragster.
Ah, I see. My question with Ren Ryu, because I'm seeing 3 of it, is do you feel like you drawn to multiples consistently? Because I know like drawing into two Ren Ryu opening hands is okay, but like in the offset chance you're drawn to 3 Ren Ryu, is that just a complete brick at that point?
Yes and no. So like if you see a Crusadia with it, then it's not too bad, because because then like you can potentially correct your hands or further on with the Skull Dread. But I haven't I've had the problem where I've like never seen this card in a lot of duels. Like I guess if like I'm getting ready to upload the second Crusade, and I believe I have it in my list for a while, and I just don't even see it. However, I have kind of thought about and tinkering, kind of maybe cutting Renru down to 2, and then bumping Leonis down there up to 3 again, just because Leonis is a Crusadia name and Renru is not. But again, I'm just trying, like, you're trying to have enough extenders, and since Renru covers the aspect of, the special summon to get to to trigger the Magius, and also a dragon, which we can turn into LP, and a level 4 that it just covers so many axes of the deck that it needs, that I kind of want to see it, and I've not had the need to cut it, because I've only seen it in like 1. I've never seen it in 2. But as a Guard Dragon player, you know that if you open multiples of it, if you have another level 4 extender like Exceed or Maximus in the hand, you just overlay, and then the other Renru in your hand becomes live.
Right, exactly.
So it's not, I wouldn't say it's not too bad. It's just something I'm kind of thinking about still messing with in the future. Because like I said, like the deck loses when it doesn't see a Crusadia, and right now, even though we've added Foreman Skipper, which can become a Crusadia, like we're still sometimes not going to see a Crusadia, which is almost statistically impossible. But if there's a will, there's a way.
Right, because we're running like what, 3, 4, 5, 8, 11, 14, 17 Crusadia monsters essentially with Format Skipper.
Yeah, it could, and then if you were to add back the extra Leonis that I ended up cutting to fit in the Format Skippers and everything, you would potentially be playing 19 Crusadia monsters.
Right.
And you should, and like statistically, you shouldn't, like you should see 1 in your opening hand, but statistics clearly don't shine on this deck's favor. Otherwise, we would never see the White Dragon or the Crawler.
Right.
So
it's with the geometric calculator, that should be around like 94% chance you open with at least 1 Crusadia card.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then the amount of, it feels like 94% is the amount of times you don't open with a Crusadia.
Yeah, especially when you need it to count. Especially when it's at finals.
It's definitely like the Avatar, since Netflix brought that on there. It's definitely like the Avatar when the world needed that Crusadia the most.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
I can't tell you how many game threes or how many, you know, like you just blow them out turn one. Game one, you're like, oh, game two is going to be a breeze. Then you just don't see a Crusadia, and you're like, oh, well, it looks like I'm fighting for my life in game three.
And then you just brick, and you're just like, man, like you draw into like triple waterfront and your Gamma Steel too, and your red
Yeah,
MD.
on top. Yeah, and you're like, ugh. So this is how it's to end.
That's the price we
But
pay for playing this deck. It's
yeah,
fun, but like it's a
really
heavy
is.
price.
Like even playing, even since I guess even since I played tested with World Chalice for a while, I can tell you like this deck just bricks a different way. I don't know how to describe it. Like it kind of like it's equal balance for the deck because every Crusadia, like not a lot of decks have this. Every Crusadia is a starter plus an extender.
Mm-hmm.
So not a lot of decks have that. Some combo decks, you know, they just have exclusive starters and then exclusive extenders. But like Crusadia, we're blessed by the Yu-Gi-Oh gods because all of our monsters are extenders and starters.
Yeah.
So, but then like Ranru's not a starter, of course, which is kind of upsetting. I know, like hands when all you do is open like Ranru, you're like, well, like what do? You just hope they bricked as well, pretty much.
Right.
But
Have
then
you considered playing like what is it? The other level 4 that people have been playing, the free special summons. I think it's called Dinotherium.
yes, I've noticed him. You just plap him down. But because going first, you know, like your opponent doesn't have anything in the graveyard, so you just smack him down and it works. But potentially, so if I was to play another level 4 extender and I had to cut like maybe cards back, I actually would play Gigabyte again because the interaction that Gigabyte and Ranru have, they just float each other out.
Right. That's arguably the best one.
Yeah, in worst scenarios where you're forced to like set like Gigabyte floats into Ranru then floats from the graveyard to Gigabyte, and then Gigabyte floats into the Ranru again.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then
it just that would honestly be my level 4 choice. I've looked at Ethereum in the past when we were trying to make Azathoth. So
oh, those were the times, man. Azathoth was so free.
It was, and see, like I remember Azathoth was just so free, and then it really put your opponent on such a time frame. It's like you got to use your hand traps now, or you better rock me now, or you're not going to be able to. And normally when they would rock you then at the Gnarla, you're like, all right, you still have enough resources in your extra deck to be able to just still play through and get to your Guard Dragon combo. But now, rest in peace, Azathoth, because now we don't have you. But Konami gave us like the next best thing we can, which is the Rafflesia.
With the Gravedigger's Trap Hole.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is it's another Garnet in your deck now.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
It really is. But so then after the Ranru, just to kind of keep moving on here, we played the 3 Draco. Mm-hmm. Draco is my second favorite card. Second or third. It's really tied with Arborea. Because, you know, like Draco chain blocks the Magius. For old school players who played the OTK variant, you just chain block the Magius, get back whatever you want, search another card. It's just, it really helps the deck out because, like I said, the deck plays from the hand. So Draco just recurs resource to the hand to continue playing through the game. You know, it's reloading your hand to go through. And now it plays through the Guard Dragon package, which is a dragon, which gets us to LP.
Right,
and
exactly.
I will admit an awkward interaction that I've had that you kind of have to sacrifice while playing the Foreman Skipper is sometimes like when you finally get to resolve Draco's effect with Foreman Skipper, the card you're adding back is the Magius back to the extra deck, and that's not really, it's really awkward and it's not really fulfilling if that kind of makes sense because since you play from the hand, you're not getting any hand advantage or any hand resource back. You're just you have to put back something, and I've kind of learned through playing that just hold the Draco's effect till you can for sure. Mm-hmm. Because they've been multiple times, like after you get to your Skull Dread, like I've needed to special summon the Draco via the Skull Dread's effect, or I draw into an extender such as like Succession or Guard Dragon, and then I bring back the Draco, and then I could trigger its effect then to add something back and play, can move on.
Right.
But then 2 Leonis, and I only play 2 Leonis because Leonis arguably is the weakest one out of all the Crusadias because piercing isn't too relevant, and it just doesn't do what the other ones do. It's not a level 4. It's not a tuner or protection. It doesn't pop a card. So I decided to cut it, but like I said, I would potentially bump it back up to 3 and then maybe cut down the Ranru, or maybe possibly cut the Gravedigger's Trap Hole to 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been testing it at 2, and it's been working out fine. But I still, like, once you open so many hands of no Crusadias, you kind of live in that PTSD fear of never seeing one.
Yeah.
So it's if you're not playing the max amount, you're kind of like staying awake at night wondering if you should. And that's
so true.
And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to play that extra one. I'm just kind of hesitant on it. But like I said, like there's a few cards that can be moved around that you can potentially play the third one, which I actually would highly advise doing, just because if you have bad luck like me, you're gonna see a hand that's not gonna have a Crusadia,
Mm-hmm.
and that could have all been fixed if you just played the max amount of Crusadias that like we have access to.
Right.
But then we have 3 Arborea. Arborea is my, like I said, tied for second or third favorite. She is the waifu of the deck. She does a lot now. See, I know like she gives us Halifibrex plays, and I just don't even want to get into playing the Halifibrex into Link Cross into Auroradon. There's so many decks out there that do that better than what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if you just want to do the Halifibrex combo and like the Link Cross, just play Adamanticators.
Right, it's just easier to do.
Yeah, easier to do. But she does gives us access to Needle Fiber. But more importantly, she's that protection, and she gives us access to Dawn Dragster. There's so many games where you even like if you establish a weak board where it's just like Ecomax with Dweller Rafflesia or Ecomax with Dragster Rafflesia, and you have the Arborean Grave, and then they attempt to whack over the Ecomax or solve the Ecomax via the Way of Destruction, and you don't want to use his effect. The Arborea just comes so in clutch just by banishing it just to protect.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's not a activating effect, it's an instead of effect. They can't call it the Grave it. They'd have to preemptively do it. That doesn't it doesn't start a chain,
Right.
which is remarkable.
Right.
And then we have 3 Reclusia. Reclusia is like, I call it the salad killer, because this card you just special to like Sunlight Wolf, and then of course they'll trigger the Sunlight Wolf, but you get to pretty much bait out any of the Rage of the Roar they have set, or you can force the Banelinks in the graveyard if you need to go ahead and get rid of it. It's just such a remarkable card. It's a great going second card, but then again, as I was saying, Crusadiers are all starters and extenders, so it's a Crusadia name, so it's a starter, and then with the ability to destroy cards going second, it just is a good going second card that's built in. So it's a remarkable card.
Mm-hmm. And it's also a spellcaster too, so Red
Yes.
is live, just in case.
Yeah, so if you get what's that card? Ghost Reaper for your Magius, and you have a Reclusia in your hand, you still have the ability to make Renru live. And that is something else to do. Like if you get further in your combo and you need to special out the Renru from your hand, but you need to conserve your Skuldred for the Gamma Seal, but you have Reclusia in your hand, you can just special the Reclusia, and then the Renru comes down for free, and then you still get your Skuldred summon.
Right, exactly.
So it's very, very good. And then 3 Foreman Skipper. So this card, I actually uploaded a video talking about how this card's a 1-card combo, and I kind of forgot that I didn't show the 1-card combo in there. I just talked about it. So I got a little heat from my sub saying it's a 1.5 card combo, and I was like, I told you guys it's a 1-card combo. I even told you guys how. So it is a 1-card combo because Foreman Skipper can grab the new card, which I'm not playing in this list, which is the Scriptron.
The what?
And Foreman Skipper. Yeah, you'll have to check it out since you have it right there. The Foreman Skipper, I think it's SCRY. Try that.
What the heck is this?
Yeah, so you can banish 1 Cyberse monster from your graveyard, accept himself, and special summon this card from your hand. So that's all you care about, is that right there. Because Foreman Skipper, reveal Regulex, go into Magius, Skipper searches this, and then you just banish the Skipper to summon this, triggering the Magius to search the Draco, and you have the full combo.
Wait, that's actually really good. When is this card coming out?
The same
Eternity Code or Rise?
Yeah, Eternity Code.
Why are people not talking about this card?
I don't know, and see, that's something that's kind of confused me. I kind of didn't go for it because space is tight. I'm trying to keep the deck list at 40.
Yeah.
And because it's another Garnet you add in your deck, it's only good if you happen to see Skipper or potentially Paralytic Seed. But then, arguably, if they don't have any sort of hand trap and you can't detach from the Exceed, it's just a dead card in your hand, So it adds another, very similar to the White Dragon, another inconvenient card in the list that can only work in certain scenarios. But it is a 1-card combo. Format Skipper is a 1-card combo if you want to play Scriptron, and it just gives you pretty cool access to because it's a level 5. You can make Warlord Savage, Drew
Right.
Draco, Berserker, Latini. It has a lot of applications, but I just think that you always want to get to Exceed because Scriptron, though Scriptron and Skipper are a 1-card combo, it's not Nibiru proof unless you happen to hard open the Exceed with it.
Right.
Most I don't know how to put this. Most good players will not Nibiru you once you like do Spath and stuff because you haven't committed enough to the board. They'll be like, oh well, there's no point in doing it. So then you just smack Rafflesia down after you summon Spatha, and they're like, oh well, now they can't Nibiru you because like
Right. It's too late.
It's too late. But then once people, and I mean like arguably you can say once people learn and understand what the deck does, then they'll know to Nibiru you on the Parallel Exceed and all that type of stuff. And when they do that, they got you. But most good players don't even realize what this deck does. Most good players, they're not paying attention to what's happening. They're like, oh, he has a Spatha and 2 monsters. That's not Nibiru worthy. And then you put Rafflesia down there, and then now the Nibiru is shut off.
Right.
But Skipper is just, like I said, like I played this in Orcust when Orcust first came out, when it was just Top Logic Turbo. And it just kind of went under my radar once a Parallel Exceed was revealed, and then one of my subscribers brought it up to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, it truly is. It's a 1-card combo.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just it does so much. And then people argue and say, well, what happens if it gets impermed or it gets effect veilered? Well, then you have the ability to make the Link Rebo down below as well, and then you have a arrow to special summon to, and you just kind of go into Regulex, then link down into Magius if you need to, or you can go straight into Spatha if your hand is bonkers. Like if you have hard open the Draco, you can just pretty much make Link Rebo special any Crusadia extender from your hand, then link into Spatha, then special the Draco to the Spatha, and full Guardragon combo.
Have you considered playing for Format Skipper? I'm playing it in my build currently. 1-for-1.
Now see, that's something I've even seen people play. Cynet Mining. Actually, one of my a channel that I kind of winner kills. He did like the Auroradon combo, and he's playing Cynet Mining.
Yeah.
But I'm still on that thing of to where, we play from our hand and we're discarding from our hand, and though like it's similar to the way like format. So you play 1-for-1, you discard a card, you get Skipper. Skipper gets you back the Parallel Exceed. So essentially, you're only losing 1 card from the hand because of the 1-for-1, because the format Skipper replaces the card you discard. It's very the discard is really heavy. And when I was like playing the card, because I did have it in here as like the one of extender, I kind of actually cut the terraforming for it.
Oh.
Just played 3 Waterfront for a little bit. I got ashed on it on like a mediocre hand and the discard and everything, and it was just kind of rough for me, and that kind of was the deterring moment for me for it, was because it's such a I don't know how to play. It's like a high risk, high reward card, and I just feel like it's like Format Skipper is not that important to me personally in the playstyle I'm going through.
Okay, so you're saying because of the discard, that's the only reason why you're not playing the 1-for-1.
Yeah, exactly. The discard, and then on top of the ability that like of course it baits an Ash, but then you're down 2 cards in your hand and you can only play from 3, and then we really like it's really hard to continue through that, and then you add if they have another hand trap in their hand. It's really difficult for us to play through. So I just after I met that Ash with that 1-for-1, I decided to move away from it. And I know some people want to play Cynet Mining, and I agree very similarly with 1-for-1 that Cynet Mining is almost not worth it as well. I feel like if you're trying to see Format Skipper, or you're trying to see like that type of card enough, like maybe consider playing it like in maybe like Salamangreat or something. Just because like that discard is really hefty, and like I cannot stress like enough, even like testing with Brotar, like I just early in the video, was when you lose that discard, like in great hands, when you open like the nuts, the discard's fine, but when we're not always going to open great hands, we're always going to open bad to like good, and mediocre kind of in the middle, because that's just how Yu-Gi-Oh is. That discard is really heavy when they have hand traps to kind of answer your plays through those good and bad and mediocre hands. So you need to kind of like, in my opinion, you need to have all the resources kind of loaded up and ready to go. And by discarding that one resource, it's really detrimental in like continuing through the combo and playing through certain hand traps.
Okay, that's super fair. Just because like you talked about Salamangreats and these other decks that use 1 for 1, they have recursion in the graveyard where this deck
Yep.
really doesn't.
Yeah, or they have such powerful cards. Like one card I can think is, 1 for 1 is in the Mermail Atlanteans.
Right.
They ash the 1 for 1 for the Mermail Atlanteans. Like, okay, cool, normal summon Diva. Or in worst case, they play the new search card they have. They have abilities that like that discard is like not even relevant for them because they, like you said, they use their graveyard as almost like a second hand, or like the losing that one card, they gain so much in advantage later on through their combo.
Mm-hmm.
That it's okay. Now, if we had 2 Skull Dreads and we had the ability to, like, Red MD wasn't getting errated and we could just play 2 and, like, we could draw those 4 cards or those 8 cards total, like, I would say, heck yeah, play it, because then we're just able to accumulate back the reason, the discarding and everything.
Right.
But yeah, like, that's I think Atlanteans are the only deck I can think of that's actively playing it. But like, essentially they ash the 1-for-1, they just normal summon Diva, and they get the Prince, and the Prince is just like a straight +1 if I remember correctly. So it just replenishes the the ash or whatnot. But to kind of, but I don't know if that made sense or if I touched base on it.
Oh no, that absolutely made 100% sense.
Okay, awesome. Okay,
all right,
and then just moving on, we have the powerful 1-ofs, Terraforming, Monster Reborn, and World Legacy Succession, and actually the Guard Dragon should be up there with the 1-ofs. But that's just kind of like the quadruple. I don't know if the quadruple I play.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the holy quadruplet I've always played. You just want to play Terraforming because it's an extra copy of Waterfront.
Right.
And I always played 2 Waterfront, 1 Terraforming, but then I started realizing after strenuous hours of testing, I really wasn't seeing Waterfront, and I was winning by just making my board of equal max with like a rank 4 and Dragster or something along those lines. And I was like, man, I really kind of would like to see Waterfront once in a while, because I am playing it, and it's just like once you establish Waterfront and the Gamma Seal, it's pretty much smooth sailing unless they have Dark Ruler No More. But this deck is one of the few decks in the format that can play around Dark Ruler No More very easily.
Oh yeah, if they had a monster in the graveyard or something, then you could chain Equimax to it, and
it's pretty. It's really good. And then of course Monster Reborn, Guard Dragon, and Succession. I played these 3 because of course Monster Reborn is Monster Reborn. World Legacy, Succession, and Guard Dragon. I've played these since Guard Dragon came out within Cybernetic Horizon, because it's not a once per turn, and so in the odd chance you kind of do brick, you don't get access to Draco, this card is dead in your hand, but you're pretty much always going to have access to Draco throughout your combo, so it's always going to be live. Draco or Ranru will always somehow get you there.
Right.
So Guard Dragon is always live in that scenario, and then of course Succession is just a Monster Reborn for Link. So, but the reason I don't play like 2 Succession and no Guard Dragon is because of the hard once per turn, to where like if I'm going through my Skull Dread and I draw into Succession or I draw into Guard Dragon and I've already used one or the other, they're not dead, they're live and ready to be used.
Right, absolutely.
And then 3 Called by the Grave, because of course you want to be able to counter hand traps when you face them if you're not able to get to like Rafflesia. And then sometimes like I said, since Paralytic Sea is just a 1-card Rafflesia essentially, having that call by to be able to like eat up those hand traps, like if they're holding the Brew and they like ash us, and we just instead of using the Rafflesia to negate the ash, and like we have to negate the ash, we have the call by to answer it. So it's just an extra form of insurance to kind of protect us.
Copy.
And then 3 Waterfront. Just seeing this in our opening hand is just a good time. It is not a once per turn. In the regional, I think the last regional I went to, I can't remember, last January, I believe.
Yeah.
I ended up playing against one of my guys from locals, actually, and I ended up getting ashed on this, and then I drew into another Waterfront, so then I just activated a second Waterfront, and then got enough counters on it and activated it anyway.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's not a once per turn, which is kind of crazy. So some players will get smart, or they'll think they're being smart, and they'll ash the Waterfront, and that always just kind of cracks me up, because it is the correct play to do, because if you stop me from getting the Gamma Seal, I can't put Gamma Seal on board, but joke's on them. Gamma Seal is a 1-of brick, and I opened with it, so
got him.
Yeah, got him. or in that one scenario, you just activate another Waterfront and just combo off anyway, and just replant and get the counters on there to summon from. And I don't know how optimal that will be, with this Red MD errata, because this was back when Red MD wasn't errated, and you just make a second Skull Dread with Pisty and just link 4, and then all of a sudden link into the second Skull Dread and you have enough counters.
Right. That's just how it is.
There is not a better feeling than having someone ash your Waterfront, but you did open the Gamecill, so you just use a Skull Dread's effect anyway to special the Gamecill, and you're like, hey, gotcha.
You know how many people I've played against at regionals that don't read like the full extent of Waterfront and they try to Ghost Ogre it?
Oh yeah, and then I've had to clear so many discrepancies with it. It's for each card that is sent, and it's some people are like, well, when you link summon one monster, it only counts one card. I'm like, no, it says it counts for each card.
It literally says each on the card.
Yep. So I was like, that's the word. The word each right there means that we get a counter for every card that's sent to the graveyard, regardless of if they go simultaneously.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just a really good card. I mean, it gets you to Gamecill, which is like I said earlier in the video, it's games in the name. It's almost, I want to say it is almost like prior to the ban list, this was like an alternate win condition. I'd almost argue that Kyoto Waterfront is essentially our main win condition now, and making the Crusadia board with the 3 to 4 interruptions is now the alternate win condition we have.
Right.
Because it's really hard, like the amount of like combo decks out there today, like Emancipators. It took me a while, but for a long time I was getting smacked by those, because no matter what I did or what I stopped, I couldn't stop them because without the Sea Turtle, because like they just did so much. And now that I kind of understand a little more what they do, I understand where their choke points are and their combos and everything. You don't need the turtle to stop them. Like even a well-timed, perfectly timed equal max on like their Needle Fiber or something like that can just sometimes stop them dead in their tracks.
Absolutely.
And then moving down, we have the 2 Grave Diggers Trap Hole, the anti-Nibiru missile we have that allows us to shoot the guy down from the sky. This card is, like I said, I didn't even know this card was coming out until Eternity Code was getting leaked, and I tested with one of it for a long time, and I never saw it. And in fact, I still have yet to see it. It's just I live in the PTSD of the quick launch, seeing quick launch plus your Tracer, your one-up Tracer. And just so everyone knows, this deck will cause you to have a lot of PTSD, guys. Trust me.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll be sleeping well at night, and then you'll wake up realizing you opened the one-of with you opened a one-of that you should not have opened a one-of with your combo cards with it. It's horrible. But it's very rewarding. But
yeah.
Arguably you can cut it down. However, it's just one of those scenarios where, so assuming you open with your one-of Gravedigger's Trap Hole, Paralytic Seed, you can make Rafflesia and kind of hopefully bluff them. But again, it's very similar to where, like, if you see Paralytic Seed plus your Gravedigger's Trap Hole, you kind of like lose the ability to be Nibiru proof if you're only playing 1. But if you're playing 2 and you see one of it and you have the ability to make Rafflesia, you pretty much are almost guaranteed, unless a pesky Imperm comes down and hits you, that you're going to be able to get to Skull Dread and correct the hand. So it's really up to personal preference if you want to play 1, if you want to play 2. I just, as I've said earlier in the video, I'm not really lucky. I don't get lucky, so I'm gonna see Gravedigger's Trap Hole in my hand, and I'd much rather not lose Nibiru because I saw the one-of, because I have bad luck. I'd rather try to beat my bad luck and just play 2 of it. So when luck goes, "Ha, we got you," I go, "Ha, I got you."
And it's not bad if you open both, because it's still 2 interruptions.
Yeah, so I mean, even worst case scenario, like that's one thing. Like, remember, it only takes 2 Crusadias to combo off. So like, even if they do kind of stop you, or like the best you can do is an equal max with like a crawler and pass. Like, I mean, really, you have a equal max, and then you set the 2 Gravediggers, so you have 3 interruptions in itself. And then sometimes I've caught myself drawing into. I've used the I haven't even used the Rafflesia yet, but I draw into a Gravedigger's Trap Hole in my Saryuja draw. And it's honestly one of the best cards I could keep in the entire drawing through, so I just keep it anyway. So then I have the Rafflesia live, and then this Trap Hole set that's live, which is pretty remarkable. And people kind of catches people off guard.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we have Crusadia Crawler, which of course is the faithful card, which will always be in my opening hand, no matter what.
Oh my god.
I've told everybody on my channel, and I'll tell everybody here, in a 5-card hand, Crusadia Crawler is always going to be my 5th or 3rd card, so it will always be there. So I just count it to be there. But outside of that, if you're lucky and you don't see it, like you statistically shouldn't see it.
Yeah.
The card is just allows us to get a negate off of Equalmax, allows us to search out a World Legacy for recursion on our turn 3. It allows us to play around Dark Ruler no more.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who don't know, essentially all you have to do now is you just have to, your ending board, you just have to end with a Crusadia Equalmax pointing to a Crusadia monster and have the Crusadia crawler set. So then when they fire off the Dark Ruler no more, you just chain the crawler to the Dark Ruler no more. Then you chain Equalmax to the crawler, targeting and negating the Dark Ruler no more.
Right.
Because Equalmax or Dark Ruler just says monster effects cannot respond to this card activation, but it's similar to like the Night Beam aspect. You're not responding to the Dark Ruler no more with Equalmax. You're responding to the crawler.
So you're not doing this during standby phase anymore. You're doing it during main phase and trying to see if they have a Dark Ruler no more.
Yep, pretty much. Unless like you know your hand didn't permit you to have that extra Crusadia, you're kind of then you're shotgunning it during the standby phase because you want to get that extra negate off of Equalmax before they do something. But most times throughout the combo, you're always going to have like one Crusadia in your hand that you could summon. So it's just kind of like once you do it, you just kind of gotta special summon the Crusadia in your hand and just have the crawler set and just hope. And then it's still virtually you're still getting the same aspect with it.
Yeah.
Because you're still getting the negate off Equalmax, and then you'll get the search off crawler. It's just we won't be negating with the crawler, if that makes sense. The crawler won't be what you're attributing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's really, and then I know like back when the deck first came out, or the Guard Dragon side of it came out, people wasn't even playing this, and I told myself like I would not resort to just playing like the Guard or the Dragon Turbo. Like I want this to be Crusadia Guard Dragon. So if my board's not ending on a Crusadia monster, I'm not gonna want it. And that's just you're always actively able to end on Equalmax. It just depends on what you can back Equalmax up with.
Right, absolutely.
But that's it for the main deck.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, like the only change I would make would be maybe cutting the one Gravedigger or cutting a Ranru down to add an extra Leonis in. But it's entirely up to you. There's something else like I do touch base with the Gravedigger real quick. Gravedigger is like what makes your Rafflesia really good. So if you play 2 of it and they have the rock and you negate it with Rafflesia, you then take note Rafflesia, since you play 2 Gravedigger, Rafflesia is another disruption on your opponent's turn.
But that is very true.
Yeah, so I noticed when I was playing just 1 Gravediggers and they shotgun the Debrew and I negated it, Rafflesia is just, a dead card on my field. Potentially you can use it to link off, but it doesn't get you enough. It's almost worth playing the second copy because just playing a second Gravedigger's Trap Hole just gets you more out of it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So then if you don't draw into your Waterfront or you don't draw into your Extenders, you can at least put up a board of Equalmax with Rafflesia, and then there's 2 disruptions right there. Right. And I noticed in some builds people are playing like 1 Gravedigger Trap Hole and then like a Trap Tricks Trap Hole, special the one that destroys special summon monsters, and I don't think that is correct because the off chance on which you open, Nightmare, there it is, in the off chance in which you open the 1 Trap Hole and then they Nibiru you lose because you don't you played the wrong Trap Hole. I think that you need to play 2 Gravediggers just because of the, like I said, of the fact of if you open 1, you still have the ability to protect yourself from Nibiru, which now, like prior to this, the deck, like I said, like with Azathoth, we were able to play around Nibiru, and then once Azathoth was gone, I think you actually said it yourself, we have to play through Nibiru now.
Yes, absolutely.
So now that we have the ability to play around it again, you kind of just want to make sure that you always have that ability to play, and just by playing 2 Gravediggers Trap Hole, we have that ability. Now, if you open both of them, I mean, what can you say?
Yeah, it just sucks.
Yeah, if it happens, it happens.
It's still 2 negates or 2 interruptions.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, they rock you. You just set the 2 Gravedigger Trap Hole, and do take note this card does inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. So the card does actually help you turn 3.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. I thought you take 2,000 damage.
No, inflict 2,000 to your opponent. So
Jesus Christ.
If you use the 2, if you use the 2 Rafflesias, like you negate Nibiru during their turn, there's 2,000. During their turn, you negate like let's say an Orcus card like Harpor, or not Harpor, that card's mana, the Symbol Skeleton. And then you negate that, you burn them for 4,000 total. So then the next turn, like you don't even need Maximus to even punch over anything. You pretty much have 4,000 damage with Equalmax pointing to like Gamma. So that's 4,200 right there.
Right, exactly.
So all you have to do is just do a direct attack with Equimax and you win. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll go ahead and jump on to the extra deck real quick, kind of fly through this. I know we're taking some time.
No worries. No rush.
We're playing two Magius. You don't want to play one, you want to play two, because sometimes there's an awkward situation where you need to link off one of your Crusadias to make the Magius under the Skull Dread to give your Kyoto Waterfront that extra counter it needs. But you always want to play the two of it, because like I've always come up into terms to where like you always need a second one, but you'll never need a third one, and you'll always miss the second one if you only play one.
Yeah, that's the perfect number for it. You don't play 3. 2 is the happy medium.
Yep, exactly. Maybe 3 in like the Kaiju variant, just because like that's, you know, like you just. But then arguably even in that variant, you're only gonna ever go through 2 Magius anyway. Otherwise, you're gonna, because if you're not OTK, you're getting blown out. So. But that is also needed in that variant too, because like you make the Equimax and then you turn one of your Crusadias into the second Magius to make Avramax.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, and then one Linkribo. Linkribo is just here because like in like some of your crazier hands or something like that, you can kind of make Linkribo with the Paralytic Seed with the Form of Skipper to provide a trap negation.
Mm-hmm.
If you open, it's a 3 card. It's kind of like a required. Well, I'd say it's more so like a 4 card or 3.5 card combo. If you open like any Crusadia or like Crusadia plus Paralytic Seed and Ranru, you have the ability to make like Rafflesia plus Linkribo.
Mm-hmm.
So then you answer both like the Rock and Imperm at the same time.
Right.
But it takes like a 0.5. You need one random extender in your hand to be able to special summon to trigger off the Magius to get to the Draco.
Mm-hmm.
So I have had that come up before because Rafflesia is immune to trap effects, I believe. So you don't have to worry about it getting it's unaffected by trap effects while it has XYZ material. Right. So you don't have to worry about it getting impermed. So then Rafflesia answers every hand trap that's not impermed. So just like that particular combo, that 3.5 card combo or 4 card combo, you might as well call it, just allows you to answer every hand trap in the game.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So then you can really play undetested. But as we know, floodgates are this deck's bane. So like in some of your weaker boards, if they bait your negates and then they flip like Rivalry or Gozen,
oh my god,
you're like ooh, caught off guard. So then the Linkribo's there to answer those. Mm-hmm. And then we play one Link Spider. I'm still too much of a coward, and I'm not gonna lie. if you can't make Rafflesia, you gotta just go into Nibiru territory, hoping they don't have it. And if they got it, you gotta have the ability to play through it. And that's what Link Spider allows us to do. Mm-hmm. Even if you get rocked and you're only able to push out like a Equimax with a Dondrax or just an Equimax alone, like Equimax is like such a high pressure card that sometimes all you need is an Equimax, and you can hold the line. But I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Mm-hmm. Right, absolutely.
And then LP is the only guard dragon we're playing. I mean, I've been planning on doing a discussion about this card. I do believe this card is getting power crept out, believe it or not, and it's kind of weird to say that. It was such a very impactful card, but now that Konami's kind of addressing the pool of cards that it can summon and it can do, mm-hmm. It's kind of like less impactful, like Crystron Halifibrex just kind of blew this card out of the water. Like people are always complaining about LP summoning from the deck, but now like the complaint is that entire Halifibrex is doing exactly what this card does, but like
much better.
Much better, and it's less fair because LP, yes, got you a dragon from the deck, but LP also locks you into dragons, and if you answer the LP in the correct way with like Ash or something, your opponent's locked into dragons. Mm-hmm. So
that's why you have the triple burst, right?
Yes, and that's triple burst is also arguably triple burst in the Heavenly Spears, which is the next card, is like 2 card or like almost like flexible spaces in the extra deck that you could potentially put in like Avramax if you wanted to, a second Skull Dread. Spears is in here more specifically because like at the bare bones minimum, say you open bad, you don't draw anything off your Skull Dread, at the worst case scenario, you're at least going to potentially see a dragon monster that you can special summon with the Skull Dread and then make the Spears. So at the bare base bone minimum, you can at least always make the Hieratic Seal, excuse me. You can always, tongue twister. Yeah. You can always make that card. However, I found myself more times using this card to be a stepping stone to get into Equimax because it's a link to, and sometimes you have to climb into Equimax, and Equimax just is a high pressure card. But that and Triple Burst are arguably like two spots that you could take out
Mm-hmm.
and put in like another Link 4 or like another Sync or another XYZ if you truly wanted to. And then we got Spatho, the maiden herself. She is crazy. Before Guardragons came out, I remember just using this card to move my opponent's monsters into the zone that Equalmax would point.
Oh
Just
yeah.
whacking them. But now she's intricate to the combo. I wish we could get like a foil of her really bad.
Oh yeah, she needs a foil so bad.
She needs a super or something. But that's essentially, she's just there to move over the dragon monster so that you can combo off into your guard dragon. Nothing really more. She is, I would arguably say, her and LP kind of go in tandem as like the choke point of the entire strategy. If someone ashes or not even ash, someone in perms or effect negates the Spatha, kind of rough. But at the same time, like that's another reason why I've kept World Legacy Guard Dragon, because like in the off chance you open it in that scenario, you can just move the LP with Guard Dragon and still combo off.
Right, absolutely.
But if they do hit you in the LP, that's essentially why we have Triple Burst, so then we can just bounce on up in the Triple Burst and attempt to combo off that way. Then we have Regulex. Regulex is just there to climb up into Equalmax to get to Crawler, and also as Crusadia veterans will know, Regulex can be an OTK in himself.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, so sometimes if you can't get to Equalmax, all you need is a Flamin' Lion, and you can do it. And then the man, the myth, the legend himself, Equalmax. This card is like, if this is my spirit animal right here. I love this card. It is out of like all the Link 3s or Link monsters that's been released, this card has been like so underrated. Like it provides such high pressure by the amount of like damage it can put on. It's a walking negation. It's like in conjunction with Arbori, it's hard to deal with. It is remarkable. I just can't put any words onto it. Like I'm always trying to end my board with Equalmax so I can negate something turn 1 and then just punch him for game turn 3. Or if you're playing going second, this is the card that you use to just smack him in the face for 12,000 damage.
And also for a lot of people that played against at regionals, they don't read the card like fully.
Oh
so
no!
They summon a monster to the zone and they want to attack with it, and then they realize they can't attack.
Yeah, and then that pretty much always writes their that's pretty much signs the slip for him, kind of.
Yeah, if they do that, it's done. That's over.
Yeah, the game's almost over with if they can't link off or turn the monster into anything, or they selectively read. They go, oh, it can't attack. Point to it. Okay, well they forget the part where my Equalmax is gaining that attack, so they leave it there, and then you're like, or Succession back Maximus or Special Summon the Maximus, double battle damage, and then you whack over their weaker monster. That's 13,000 damage because I'm gaining the attack of the monster you left there.
Right.
But he's really good. That's it for the Crusadias. I've thought about playing Avermax, but almost any time I would go and play Avermax, I'd always almost just rather end on Equalmax, because Equalmax is that negate. It is, given it don't have the walking protection that Avermax has, but that negate that and arguably Equalmax can get huge. So that's why I've kind of if you really wanted to play Avermax, you could cut the Seal or Triple Burst and put in Avermax, but I've never found myself going into Avermax in this variant. Now in the going second variant, I go into Avermax all the time.
Right.
Actually, one of my subscribers, he showed me a really cool combo or a really cool line of play I never even thought was possible with the Rock. You pretty much you set Crusadia Power through your combo, end on Avermax, and then when they start committing, you end up activating Brew and then chaining Crusadia Power to your Avermax. And then you just wipe their board, and then you have Avermax plus Nibiru, which is kind of oppressive.
Oh yeah, it's very, very strong.
But I really, because he is a Crusadia card, he fits in so well in the lore and everything. I do kind of want, in my heart, I want to fit him, but in practicality, in my opinion, I think just Equalmax does a better job than him, because Equalmax plus Rafflesia Dweller and any sort of combination, that's 3 interruptions. Whereas the interruptions are important, whereas Avermax just kind of provides a protection for himself and a blanket protection for being attacked, but it's not hard for them to go through and pick off your negations. And then as immovable as Avermax is, he's not impossible to move. Right. So in a deck that kind of plays from the hand, you're kind of stretch out to make that Avermax your ending board. And I just kind of it's almost like putting a bunch of your eggs in one basket. If that makes sense. And then if they solve that one basket, you're kind of your board falls apart. And arguably you can say the same with Equalmax, except for at least Equalmax can put up a fight. He can negate whatever's trying to solve him in a sense, as long as it's not a kaiju or something.
Right.
And with the Dark Ruler No More, Avermax doesn't really help you play around Dark Ruler No More. So, whereas Ecomax does. Ecomax is the only reason that we can play around Dark Ruler No More.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When we get to Triple Burst is just here because of, they stop the LP. You can link into Triple Burst and then kind of attempt to make a weak Skull Dread if you need to, if you open Waterfront, or sometimes like you can like if they hit you at the LP, you can still attempt to combo off into a full Skull Dread to get a draw if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Most importantly, something that people kind of forgot, like that he's good for, is you don't really get the chance to make him like you used to. You used to turn Pisty and Agripane into the Triple Burst.
Right.
But most importantly, that I think his application is now or was he can negate Ray during the battle phase or during the damage calculation.
Oh, that is
good. And
then
he can also stop the Shadal flip effects from activating. So since Shadal is not running rampant anymore, that application might be less now.
Mm-hmm.
But that is something to keep in mind. Like he's not too bad of a card to go into. Like I said, he can in certain matchups. He can stop Ray. He can stop Shadals. And he is a pretty big Link 3.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, and then he's just there for extra extension to play through hand traps. And then we got one Skull Dread. Nothing more can be said. Draw 4, special summon. It is always good to like whenever you do open bad, but you still like open Waterfront. You can always like at the bare bones always at least make like a 3 Skull Dread. Mm-hmm. So then you can always at least make Gamecill touch it down if you see it in that scenario.
Right.
And then we have Rafflesia. Rafflesia is just the ability that we have to play through Nibiru. Nothing really more to say that. Dugaris I've been iffy about. Dugaris is also a spot you could potentially cut if you really wanted to play something else. But Dugaris is like his draw 2, his special summon. He's just overall such a great card. Like more recently, since the Paralytic Seed's been released and we've had the ability to make Rafflesia, I've only caught myself making Dugaris during turn 3. And like
really?
I said, it's usually in the interaction of making like summoning Draco to grab back Maximus, especially Maximus, then using Maximus to double Ecomax's original, or allowing him to do double battle damage, and then I just overlay for Dugaris, and then make Dugaris double Ecomax's attack, so then I'm smacking for more damage. It's just more of a the game ender sort of thing, like it's making like my OTKs for sure on turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
But it does like the draw can come up sometimes, like if your hand's just so bad, it just allows you to pretty much draw and clean out your hand. It's just a really flexible all around card. But as I said, like mostly now I've only used it for the OTK, so it could just be a flex spot. You could put anything you want in there. Heck, you could even put Avermax in there to fill this spot,
right? Because
you could potentially probably go into them the same amount. And then one Abyss Dweller. We just gotta stop those graveyards. It's still such an impressive floodgate. I mean, the amount of decks that just kind of lose to just a lone Abyss Dweller, it's just kind of crazy. And then like you put Abyss Dweller backed up with an Ecomaxer and stuff like that. Like, doesn't sound impressive in word wise, but on a board it's actually quite crazy when your entire deck relies on the graveyard, and you shut down the graveyard and you have like this Ecomax that's 3,700 looking down your throat. It's kind of impressive. And then the one of Dawn Dragster is just. Now, something that I didn't even realize, and it's coming up in one of my replays, is in the video I'm putting up, is this card does piercing.
Yeah, this card definitely does piercing.
never noticed it did piercing.
2100 beat stick, piercing.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, I've caught myself so many times establishing this in turn 1 as a negation, and then just turn 3 flipping it to attack mode and just whap. And going for it. And the fact that it did piercing kind of blew me away, because I was playing against, I believe it was Shadal's, and they must have opened bad, so he set the card, and I just kept attacking it with the Dragster, and I just kept piercing, and I was like, man, this guy's not going to catch a break. So I was like, piercing for 18, smacking for like 32 with Ecomax. Piercing for 18, smacking with 32 with Ecomax.
That's hilarious.
But, yeah, so that's it for the main and extra. Like I said, guys, like you can cut a few cards if you want to. For the side deck, my side deck I've kind of been tinkering around with. It's still up for... change. 3 Nibiru, because everybody's playing it. In Nibiru, just if you're not Emancipators, like Nibiru is just a blowout card. 2 Kaijus, and arguably I've kind of bounced back and forth with playing 3 Kaijus instead of the Rock, because the Kaijus plus the Revival just kind of get you to the OTK. when you're like go second, like, you know, we can side and go in second cards, and like they won't be a game 3 because we just one punch them game 2. So I'm kind of still keeping the 2 kaijus in there for that matter, but like it's still like the side deck's still in testing. 3 artifact Lancia, because Lancia just Eldritch is, you know, it's a set 5 pass deck, and we've always struggled against those. So having the ability to stop them from like pretty much resetting their resources is really important. Since Orcus, you know, like we haven't had the experience of like crazy Orcus yet, but it's coming to us. And Lancia was such a powerful card against Orcus prior to the ban list that I think we'll see this card yet again. And then we have 3 Dark Ruler No More. I mean, everybody's playing it. Sometimes we need it to break through some other like Emancipator boards. An interesting combination that I've caught myself citing in has been 3 Dark Ruler No More and 1 Revival, because you shut off their board and you can't do no battle damage anymore, which is, you know, you kind of think that's counterproductive to the Crusadia strategy, but you pair it off with Revival and you just clear their entire board, and then they have to rebuild their board, and you normally have enough negations on your board to stop them from doing that. So Dark Ruler and like Revival, and you get Revival through your combo with Regulex.
Right.
You essentially just can clear their entire board and not have to worry about anything. You don't get to one punch them, but in kind of a sense, if you just break their board and they can't rebuild and they kind of quit, it's kind of like a one punch in a way.
Right.
But then when I play 3 Twin Twister, this is my actual like I don't own Lightning Storms. This is my own actual like side deck that I have that I've been testing with. Twin Twister it's you know, you have to play some form of backrow. I don't think Cosmic Cyclone at the moment does enough, and if Lightning Storm's out of your budget, Twin Twisters I believe is the next best bet. It sucks discarding because, you know, like I said, you play from the hand, but sometimes you just necessary evil to beat, you know, the set 5 and pass.
Yeah, right now a lot of people are opting to play Cosmic just because of Orcus, and also it's an out to Eldritch. Because if you Twin Twister their back row for Eldritch, they're just gonna resolve it in the graveyard anyways.
Yeah, and then see, I've contemplated going back to, you know, playing a Cosmic Cyclone over the Twin Twisters. It's just kind of bouncing back and forth. And at my locals, I know that we will have an Eldritch player when we get back going, but I also know we have at least a few Altergeist players running around.
Oh man!
And against Altergeist, Cyclone doesn't just do enough. You need the Twisters, or the Titty Twisters is what I call them, because you just kind of you rip the back row apart.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you can afford Lightning Storms, definitely play Lightning Storms instead. And then the 1 Crusadia Revival, this injunction with Dark Ruler No More, and of course the Kaijus kind of just, you know, allow us to just blow out our opponent like the old-fashioned way, which is another reason why I really enjoy this deck. It's so flexible, and it's just, you know, does so much.
Have you considered playing with the Kaijus? Have you considered playing Thunder King for its second effect?
Where it to make up to 3 attacks? I have thought about that. I really have. And you know, you keep in the waterfront, and you just use the counters, and you just give them like a kaiju like Dogeron or something like that, so where like they can't like chain or stop you. Made that mistake before. When I did try this card out way back when, I gave them Gamma Seal.
Oh no.
Yeah, special mind and activate Thunder King, removing 3, or I think it removes 3. Yeah, remove 3, and there's just 2 left on there. So he just like chained my own Gamma Seal and negated my Thunder King, and I was like, ouch. So but yes, that is actually quite a very good option, especially if you don't get to like Maximus. You know, you can use a Thunder King to punch over all the monsters, and then your Equamax is like 42 or like huge, and then you can like, normally that's almost game because of just how big Thunder King is.
Right.
But other than that, that's the deck profile I've been working on, and it's still subject to change, like I said, but just waiting for locals to open back up to finally go get to test it in person again, because, you know, like online testing and in-person play testing is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's like apples and oranges, dude. Like, feeling the physical cards and like having interaction with the player is just completely different than online.
Yeah. However, I will say that playing online, I don't see my bricks as often, so it is nice in that sense. But I know that in real life gameplay, that's not going to happen. So I really want to get back and start testing so I can learn to play through awkward hands and kind of just get back into it. So
yeah, I don't know if this happens just to me, but like, do you feel like you get worse hands at regionals than you do in like locals?
Now, actually, I have the opposite. I've had the opposite effect ever since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh. So I guess to quickly make a quick story time before we end the video is I picked up Dark Lords when they came out over here in the TCG, and I've watched that deck since its inception in the OCG, and it was doing fairly well. I took that deck to locals, and I was getting thrashed, my man. I was getting beat by Blackwings. I was just getting waxed, and I was like so upset because I spent all this money in this deck, and I couldn't even like get second place or third place at locals. And but I have a really good friend who he knows who he is if he'll watch this. He just kept pushing me through it. He kept doing theory talk with me, crafting. He was the Blackwing player actually, and he's like the deck's good. It's just like you're just getting all the outs to it. Well, anyway, I went to the regional, and I just blew everyone out of the water. That was like my first invite I ever got was with Dark Lord.
Wow.
And yeah, and I was just like, dang. And then when I got when Crusadia came out, I kind of had like a flop of an experience. I just ravaged my locals with going second variant, and then I went to regionals, and it was during the FTK, Dark World FTK, Danger Dark World FTK.
Yeah.
And I didn't do good in that regional. And then we go to Crusadia Guardragon. The deck got me a lot of I struggled with it at locals, and it took a lot of more so of learning to play it. But then when I've gotten 2 invites with it at regionals, and I just go to these regionals, and I just open godly hands, and it's at locals where I struggle with hands. It makes no sense. Trust me, it makes no sense. I'm grateful for it in the long run, but when you get to we have a small competitive local, so you go there and you get beat, you're hearing about it for the next week. So
you become that guy, that Crusadia guy.
You become that guy.
Yeah, I was open with Crawler once.
And look, Gamma-Seal too.
Oh, Crawler, Gamma-Seal. This is not a bad hand. It's okay.
No, but the Faithful One-Ofs.
Faithful One-Ofs. Oh yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah, this right here pretty much allows you to be Nibiru proof right there.
Yeah. We'll do a couple more, 3 or 4 more. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, see, it's the curse. But however, if you notice, even with these brick hands, you're able to still play. You still open 2 Crusadias. You still have the ability to combo off. Even by opening call by, you pretty much protect yourself from Ash. You're not safe from impermanent brew. But I never lived in fear of Spear mode when that card was around, so I don't really live in fear of the Rock. If they got it, they got it.
That's just how it is. If they have,
it's just how it is. It's a lot of if you got it, you got it. You better have it, otherwise I'm more than likely going to win. So.
And it's more likely that you make a board than they have Rock. That's just statistically how it is.
Yep. But.
Damn, Fuego.
And see, that hand right here is almost, that's really good because you're gonna get Skipper. Skipper's gonna grab you Exceed, and then you just have the extra extender to go off your Crusadia plays.
And you have 2 call buys just in case they have 2 hand traps.
Yeah, 2 Effect Veiler or Ogre or Ash or.
Droll and Lockbird even hurts his deck.
Droll, yeah, Droll really can. Droll can hurt. There was a while back actually I got Drolled and I was able to play through it. I showed how you play through it with Dugaris actually, and it allows you to make a I think it pushes if you open Arborea, it allows you to push for an Equamax with a Don Dragster through a Droll at the very beginning, which is something a lot of decks really struggle with.
Oh yeah, with especially heroes or Pendulum Magicians, they struggle really hard against Droll.
Yeah, Droll's pretty rough, and Droll we're no exception to Droll. They draw us at the Magius. We're
yeah,
up the creek without
we
a
get
paddle.
the search, but we're oh yeah, I guess we can't really do much.
It's well, we're gonna do the best we can.
All right, that is about it for this video. Any last words you want to say, Charles? Before
nope, just thanks for having me. Also, guys, remember to like, comment, subscribe to AkemiTCG. And other than that, if you guys have time, check out me over at TeamCOG. And yeah, nothing more than that.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. This is the Yugi panel. This is our, I believe, what is this, 5th or 6th episode? One of those, but we're racking up there. And we will see you guys next time. And don't forget, it's time to duel.
Have fun, guys. Stay safe.
The world ends now.